Unity. Unity. Unity.
3.3 FM, the voice of reason. Today is the 16th day of January, the year 2023, and as we introduced you at the prologue of the program, today is going to be a town hall meeting, and we have a full house. Every sector, permit me to use that word carefully, is being represented this morning in the studio. And with us in the studio this morning is the Labour Party candidate for the Plateau North senatorial seat. He's aspiring to represent the entire 6 local governments in the National Assembly. But then, when he becomes a senator peradventure, he's not just going to be a senator for Plateau State or the Northern Zone, but of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because whatever law they make is going to affect every nook and cranny of this country. We are talking of no other than Barrister Gangzi. Barrister, it's good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, my brother.
All right, quickly, we set the ball rolling. You want to be the senator to represent Plateau North.
Yes.
Why should people trust you with their votes? Already, there is somebody there and might probably want to go back there, or there are other candidates of other parties. Why do you feel that Plateau people, especially the Northern Zone, should trust you with their votes?
Thank you. People should trust me with their votes because they've also already trusted me with a lot of responsibilities before now. And by the grace of God, I have not failed them. So they should trust me with their votes because I have outlined things that I need to achieve for them, which without any political platform I would not be able to achieve. And as a legislator, you know our responsibilities. The primary responsibilities is making laws, reviewing laws, and yes, we have certain oversight functions. We have the constituency projects. These are issues that need deep knowledge. And by the grace of God, I have built my capacity, especially in lawmaking. As a lawyer, I think among all the candidates, I stand out. Because of the candidates that are contesting for this position, I am the only lawyer among them. And I have practiced so well by the grace of God that I should be able to discharge this responsibility very well.
When I hear you say you have practiced so very well and you have that knowledge, we have seen a lot of people that have campaigned and told Nigerians that when they get there, they are going to do things differently. But as it stands now, we have the APC, the PDP, and other political parties in the National Assembly, and we've never heard for once any of them reject the largesse that are being given to legislators. But some people before now said when they get there, they are going to correct these ills. But today we see them, they are collaborators in taking these allowances. At the end of the day, some people, I use this word carefully, some people are saying this present National Assembly, they score them below average because they didn't perform very well. So what's the guarantee that when you get there, you're not going to join the fray?
Very well. As I said earlier, as a lawyer, I've handled a lot of cases, and I believe that I handled them well. Well, on the issue of the emoluments, allowances of legislators you just touched on, you know, I won't be able to say anything until I get there. But if you ask me, I will tell you that it has been one of the problems I also discover is that the followership is also responsible for that to a large extent. Because I also discovered that the citizens expect so much from the people who are actually vying for political offices. Probably that is responsible for that. But I am assuring you that by the grace of God, getting there are people who are thinking in this same line, that those allowances are so much. We will need to put our heads together. As you know, at the National Assembly, one person cannot take a decision. We should be able to lobby to have a majority that we can agree on these issues and then put in a law in motion. Then, by the grace of God, I know that the law should be able to succeed.
All right, let's leave it there. Even though one man stood out in South Africa, we're talking about Julius Malema, and today he has really won a lot of people to himself. So I think an individual can make a difference too when you get there. But let's leave it there because of time. We have 6 local governments in Plateau North, and each local government has its own peculiar issue. We have Bassa, we have Jos North, we have Jos South, we have Jos East, we have Freedom, we have Barkiladi. These local government have their own peculiar issues, and how do you intend to really give priority to each of these local government based on their own peculiar issues? Because you cannot take the case of Jos South and address it in Jos North, take the case of Jos North and address it in Barkiladi. They can never match. So how do you intend to prioritize these peculiar issues?
Well, basically, you know, I said my own, I'm not going to an executive office. Mine is legislation. And as rightly pointed out, as a legislator, you are not legislating only for your state, except if you are in the House of Assembly. At the national level, you legislate for the whole federation. So you see, those peculiarities that we are talking about, like for Plateau State, as a person to represent the Plateau North, the first attention is to unite the people of all these 6 local governments. We should be able to give them fairness. Once you are able to be fair to all the local governments, then I think you would have solved 50% of the problem. But as I tell you, in the whole of Plateau North, there is a particular problem that is peculiar to all the local governments, and that is insecurity. Insecurity is peculiar to all the problems, and by the grace of God, I am already working on documents that will be converted into laws that, first and foremost, after uniting the people, the second thing is to look at how to ensure how to secure the communities. We'll look at the issue of IDPs, which is very, very important. And you know, when we're talking about the issue of IDPs, it's not just peculiar to Plateau State. It's peculiar also to other states in the country, especially in the north. You look at Zamfara, look at Kaduna, you look at Katsina, you look at so many other states. We should be able to work hand in hand with other legislators to ensure that we put in a law that will ensure the recoveries of lands that have been grabbed, and also to resettle IDPs. On the issue of kidnapping, well, we're on air. I am also a victim of kidnapping, as it was all over on the 5th of July 2021. I was kidnapped. Let me just give an assurance. Security issues are not issues that you discuss them on air. But by the grace of God, there will be a proper collaboration between myself and the law enforcement agencies to ensure that all the communities within my constituency are protected. You recall just very, very recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of the community was resettled. I saw Bello Lukman there. That was an effort, the effort of IDGAN in collaboration with the law enforcement agencies, particularly the STF. I was also involved in that exercise by the grace of God, and it's something that we will continue with. On constituency projects, I have said times without number that we will not embark on constituency projects that are not useful to the people, and therefore we will have to from time to time engage the people in town hall meetings, to interact with them, to know what exactly are their needs. From there, we should be able to put those needs, prioritize them, make them part of the budget before the budget is passed, so that at least the needs of the people will be properly captured.
All right.
These are some of the ways I'll go about handling.
All right. Some of the powers given to the legislature as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended 1999, Section 4.1, Part 2 of the Constitution, as well as Section 4.2, talks about some of the exclusive powers of the legislature, 68 of them to include defense, aviation, the currency, custom, excise duties, citizenship, drugs and poison, and the rest of them. And it also gives you the power to make laws that can guarantee the security of life and property. Now, one of the biggest challenge we have across board is the issue of illegal immigrants coming into Nigeria, and some of them even live freer and even boisterous than the citizens. We have them here on the plateau. We have them in every part of Nigeria. What do you intend to do to ensure? Because to some people, these are our friends. To some people, these are our brothers. To some people, we share the same thought or affiliation, whatever. But this is a threat to national security, if you ask me. So what do you think you and probably some like minds intend to do? Because the deposed Emir of Kano said something, that whoever is coming into power from whatever angle, whether from the executive or the legislative angle, you must know that it's not going to be a tea party, it's not going to be a walk in the park, and we don't expect that when somebody gets there, we begin to complain that we are seeing in other places now, that we never knew that this is how the problems were. It's because you see the problem, that's why you want to go there. So what do you intend to do, especially in the issue of illegal immigrants?
Thank you. Now, you see, on the issue of illegal immigrants, you see, these are strictly issues that have to do with law enforcement agencies, especially the immigration. The laws are there. There are guiding principles before each person leaves his country to another country. But you see, its insincerity is one of the major problems we have, especially with the executive. It's not strictly a legislative issue. Now, as a legislator, it's for us to raise motions that will further or will bring out punitive measures on law enforcement agencies that fail to carry out their responsibilities, especially the Nigerian immigration. They fail to carry out their responsibilities. Certain punitive measures should be applied to them. Whether you like it or not, most of the crises are caused by those illegal immigrants. If you are talking about infiltration of arms, it's from those illegal immigrants. We have not been able to build a robust economy because of bringing in of prohibited goods. So my own effort is to ensure that I work hand in hand with the law enforcement agencies within my own constituency to ensure that there is proper verification programs for people who are coming in. But we will make a law that at least will affect the whole federation to ensure that people who are coming are genuine people. Yes, we are allowed to go into other countries. We also travel into other countries, but we always ensure that our papers are intact. And then, as the right people, because when you bring in irresponsible people, the only thing they will come to do in your country is to destroy the country. But basically, that is how I intend to go about it.
All right. One of the biggest issues that electorates have with politicians is to the effect that when it gets to election, you people know how to reach people, even in the remotest area of their communities. But once you get there, when you pick calls, you begin to ask, this voice sounds familiar. So how accessible would you be?
Well, I shouldn't talk about myself on this because I will be blowing my trumpet. I think of all of us that are into this contest, I am the most accessible.
That is to you?
Yes. Not just to me. But we in Labour Party, we always say, go and verify. You can always go and verify. And if I'm not accessible, call my attention to that. I, by the grace of God, will ensure that I embark on an open governmental policies where there will be continuous interaction from the beginning to the end. Everything I will do, I will ensure that I do it with the people. So my doors will be open. And let me tell you something. The secret of my success as a lawyer is because I'm a team player. I always ensure that I gather other people's opinions before taking a step. So I can assure you that if I shut my doors, automatically I will not be able to operate as a person. So about accessibility, I am giving an assurance. And for those who know me very well, they know that you can meet me anywhere. There are times that I will be on transit and I will receive a call. I will say, oh, I'm stopping at so point. Come and meet me. Okay. My office, I can see some of my colleagues here. I'm sure they can also attest to that. So I don't think people should harbor any fear as far as the issue of accessibility is concerned.
All right, you say you are very accessible. Maybe I'll try that after the program. I'll call you later to see whether you pick my call.
Thank you.
All right. All right. One other issue before we open the phone lines. The last time we saw a movement was in 2015. They called it the Buhari tsunami. Yes. And a lot of people hit under that umbrella, some of them very, very unpopular. And they hit under that umbrella and won elections, not only from the same political party with the president, but even other political parties. Yes. And they got into power. And today, we can see how they have messed up a lot of things in their own immediate constituencies. Labour Party, we hear, is a movement. Is it because of the popularity of the movement that you're coming out, or because of your antecedent and pedigree that you're coming out?
Well, I didn't actually come out. I was made to come out. And when I was first contacted, I told them that I would not go into this contest. There was a level of persuasion. And when I looked at the character of the person who is coming out for the presidential election and the thoughts of who will be the vice presidential candidate, I feel, well, these are people who have been given certain responsibilities in the past and they perform well. So coming in to work with them, well, it will be okay. As far as I'm concerned, I am coming out because I believe the people have seen what they need in me, and they are convinced that I will be able to discharge the responsibilities bestowed at the office that they want me to come out for. And that's why when they contacted me, even though I hesitated from the beginning, at the end of the day, I succumbed. So I am telling you that as far as I'm concerned, just look at the candidates of the Labour Party. Let us leave the presidential for now, right? Let us restrict ourselves to Plateau State now. These are people who have distinguished themselves in their areas of endeavors. Look at Dr. Patrick Daku, for instance. He has distinguished himself as a medical doctor. He is the CEO of the Human Virology Institute, one of the world-recognized institutes. Look at his running mate. His running mate as a lawyer, he is a senior advocate of Nigeria. Now look at the other lawyers that are contesting for gubernatorial offices in the other political parties. You will discover that even the running mate of the Labour Party is ahead of the gubernatorial candidates of the other parties. Well, for myself, I always tell people that if you want to know anything about Gyangzi, just Google, just enter Gyangzi in Google, and it will download so many things as to what I have achieved as a person. So I believe that our case in 2015 and in 2023 is not the same, and it will never be the same with the case in 2015.
All right, let's leave it there, and we will go back to the people in the studio. Let's get their own contribution or questions, as the case may be. You can ask your questions with decorum, please. No name calling, no stereotyping, no stigmatization of any kind, and emotions and sentiments are too luxurious for us on this platform. We cannot afford them, so please be guided. Whatever you're going to say, ensure that you say it with decorum. So I think the microphone will be passed around randomly, not in any order of hierarchy, but then we'll be going for a very short break. When we return, the program will continue. This is Unity Train. Stay here.
Kasance da Unity TV domin labaru akan al'amuran yau da kullum. Unity TV, murya cikin nazari.
Unity TV. Unity.
Kasance da Unity TV domin labaru akan al'amuran yau da kullum. Unity TV, murya cikin nazari.
Come from that short break, still Unity Train, the Town Hall edition. And you've been listening to the Labour Party candidate for Plateau North in the 2023 election, and is aspiring to represent Plateau North in the National Assembly. He is no other than Barrister Gyangzi. Now we've heard some of the things that he intends to achieve should he be made the senator to represent Plateau North, Plateau State, and Nigeria as a whole. Now we are going to take questions and contributions. Let's start from the PRO, the Plateau State chapter of the Nigerian Association of the Blind, in person of Joseph Barry. So you can go ahead, Joseph.
Good morning. I'm by name Joseph Barry, as the conductor has introduced me. Sir, I have a question that I want to ask. Yes. And the question goes like this. Sir, in your manifesto or in your plans, yes, you eventually become the senator, yes, the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yes. What are your plans that you have for persons with disability, most especially the visually impaired, in terms of education? Yes. Because we have difficulties in accessing the materials, yes, for our education, because our materials are too expensive. So, sir, what are your plans that you have for us so that we can that you can hope us to vote for you?
Thank you.
All right, you will not respond to that. Just be jotting them. Haja Maimuna, please introduce yourself properly, then you ask your question.
Good morning, I'm Maimuna Abdullahi, representing Women Initiative for Sustainable Community Development, WISCOD. Sir, I can't remember hearing from you your plans and for women in terms of development and also involvement. We have been agitating for women to be involved in politics and also to be carried along, not to be just be used. And as being a group that gives the highest votes in Nigeria, what are your plans for women to involve them and also to, in terms of development, to see them making their own ways in business and other aspects? Thank you.
Okay, I think let's hear from the Plateau Peace Practitioners Network, then we go to the other side.
Okay, good morning, listeners. I remain Sadiq Garba Hassan. I'm the PRO for Plateau Peace Practitioner Network. I just have two questions for our Honorable Senator to be in the future. So, in your earlier discussion, you have mentioned that responsibility was given to you, people has given you responsibility and you have not felt them. I don't know you, I want you to add more light. What are some of the responsibilities that was given to you and you have not felt them? Also, sir, I want to mark it today. I know our uncle, they are very good in that. They say that we should carry our pens and write whatever our politicians are promising us, we should jot it down. So that once they go to the office, we can hold the responsibility to that effect. You have just said that you are accessible and anybody can call you. You may be accessible now, but we are looking at when you go to the office. Can you be the same accessible as you are now? Also, do you have any plan to give an opening ear, particularly to CSO on the plateau, since you know we normally to speak on behalf of the less privileged people that are best community people that their voice will not be heard. So do you have any reverse relationship, openness to CSO on the plateau?
All right, let's pass it to the person there. And Nelson is representing the youth and also is also into sports. And this is one of the aspects that, if properly harnessed, will reduce crime and idleness drastically. So Nelson, introduce yourself properly, please.
My name is Nelson Tandawada. I am the founder of Basketball Against Rape and the co-founder of ELB Sports Management. Actually, my question here, I have two questions and they're a little bit lengthy. So I'm going to set a background first of all. Now, back then, there was love and trust between Christians and Muslims here on the plateau. I'm going to narrow my questions down to plateau, but as a legislator, I know you can, if elected, you can make it a national issue. So both people, everybody coexisted as one here. There was trust, there was love. But then, unfortunately, we had an incident that happened in 2001. Now, at a time, Plateau became more like, just to be precise, became like a safe haven to everybody. You can go to, I can live to Nwada, to Angwanrogo, to see my friend, and even spend the night there. His parents could just eventually be my parent at the moment. But you know, after 2001 crisis, there was breach of trust. Love was lost. A whole lot of things. We know what I'm talking about. Now, if elected, how can you reconcile this, especially among the youth? Because the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. And today, when we are talking about developing Nigeria or trying to make Nigeria a better place for people not to go to other countries, first of all, there has to be love and trust. If you're talking about how do we go about this to better Plateau State, to make the Plateau State a state where it can flourish economically, and you bring up issues, people, especially if you're from the other side of the religion, people start seeing as if you're trying to empower, you know, so...
Can you just make it brief, please?
How do you reconcile this,
okay,
if eventually you get elected?
Okay.
Then secondly, on the 30th of May 2013, according to Premium Times, the number of out-of-school children on the plateau is 750,000. Now with this figure, all we've been experiencing is the proliferation of crime and criminalities. However, some of these children are out of school due to different reasons, ranging from financial issues in their families. Others will not go to school due to truancy, and that is due to lack of parental guidance and control, etc., etc. Now, also, most of these kids are either brilliant, talented, or skillful. Now, if elected, Mr. Z, how can you harness this talent and brilliance to the benefit of their families, communities, states, country, and the world at large?
All right, pass it to the next person behind you so that we'll know we're done with that angle. Okay, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is HAJARKU. I am representing the Trasaku Sellers Association. My view or my question to our distinguished senator to be elected if possible. Sir, what I have in question is, you are covering 6 or 5 local governments.
6.
6. We in Just Not, especially, we have some certain areas that are underdeveloped. And we believe if you look around, you will find out that there is no presence of either state or federal establishment within the areas. Especially if you take from Babali, coming up to reach Jos. Take site of Nepa, Faringada, Alheri. Most of these areas have not been having anything federal to mention, so that our youth at least will have something to avoid all this kind of interaction with other associations that will give them bad hope.
Okay.
We hope with your presence here, we are not sending a message from somewhere. We are one-on-one with you. What do you have to show these areas that really you are there if elected?
Okay.
That's number 1. Number 2, we have abundance of youths on the ground. There was a time the state government was even deciding to ban tricycle in Jos, which we believe is going to bring another heavy problem to the state, which in question as of that time, I personally asked, what did they have for the youths if they banned tricycle?
All right.
Automatically, I was thinking, if you are in the office, you can join hands with the state government and other relevant areas to make sure that you have something good for the youth at least for a while, so that we need to know that politics is existing in the country.
All right, thank you very much. Please, can we be so brief with our questions, because you need to respond to...
Should we respond to these ones before we take...
Because of time, let's just take them. Just keep jotting them. So please, can we just be very cautious of time? All right.
Okay, good morning. Once more, my name is Tom Sampson, the immediate past secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, Jos Branch. Sir, in the course of your rolling out your manifesto, you talked about unity. My first is like a contribution. I think if elected, I'll crave your indulgence to unify the lawmakers on the plateau so that you can galvanize your support and lobby for better things for the plateau people. And then secondly, I would like to know your opinion on the concept of rule of law. I feel so much that if the rule of law is followed in this country, definitely we are going to make massive progress. So I want to know your opinion about the concept of rule of law. Thank you.
All right.
Thank Thank you. My name is Barrister Paul Zaruma. I am a politician, a human rights activist, and a private legal practitioner. I have a couple of questions here, though some of the questions have been asked. Let me just walk around it to ask a few for want of time. Now, I will start with implementation of our laws. You know, just the 8th Assembly introduced about 2,166 bills, and about 515 were passed into law. Just in 2 years, the 9th Assembly passed 58 bills into law. So the problem of Nigeria is not law, it's implementation. Sir, if elected, what would you do so that most of these laws will become active and not just be laws for the shelf? My second question, sir, is with regard to displaced people. We have a lot of displaced people in Plateau, and a larger chunk of them is in the senatorial district that you aspire to represent. What will you do in terms of resettling them legislatively and otherwise through oversight functions and other functions? The next question is with respect to state police. The bill for state police has been in the House, and it is neither here nor there. The question is, did you believe in state police? If yes, what will you do to make sure that the desire to have a state police come to be in Nigeria, particularly with regards to the proliferation of informal security outfits, which can portend danger in the near future if not properly harnessed legally or legislatively?
All right, I think we are running out of time. Can we...
Right, I will round up by saying what youth participation. I will round up by the last question will be on the ACON, the Advisory Regulatory Council of Nigeria Act number 23 of 2002. You have been crisscrossing not only Northern Senatorial District, but Plateau States since you've started this contest. You know how expensive it is to aspire for election, and that is one of the factors that is affecting politicians when they come into office. And now the 9th Assembly have passed this act into law that have further made participation in election very expensive. That for you to place a poster, there is certain amounts you will pay. Is it about 200,000 or so? Now, and that amount is not only tied to all your posters. If you are placing a poster with different shirts, you will also pay that same amount.
All right.
Apart from billboard and other things. This has further made a campaign very expensive and makes it so difficult for you to participate. If elected, what did you intend to do about this difficult?
All right, thank you so very much. I think we are really running out of time. Please, just if somebody has asked the question you wanted to ask, don't repeat it again, because the guests have less than 5 minutes to respond to all these questions. So let's make it snappy, please.
Good morning, the barrister. My name is Honorable Akwai, a politician and community leader per se. The barrister, you are aspiring to be the senator of Plateau Northern Zone. What are your plans towards the non-indigent residing on the plateau, most especially Plateau North? We discovered most of the times the problem is all about Plateau North, Jarawa, Naguta, and all this. The Yoruba, Igbo, and other speaking people from Nigeria that's residing on the plateau, we are not carried along in issues of legislators. So what are your plans? Secondly, sir, legislators, we the politicians, when we are aspiring, we say a lot of things, but when we have won this office, if we win this office, we don't forget politics to focus on governance. We continue doing politics for the next 4 years to come again. I will still come back and say that I want to go again because I have not finished my work. So what are your plans towards this? Thank you.
All right, the last person.
My name is Ruth Abo. Sir, what is your description or impression of a Plateau woman, considering the fact that the Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill was not considered or not debated upon last year? And somebody has talked about the plight of the Plateau woman. Let me narrow it to the Plateau women in the senatorial zone which you are going to represent. Considering the fact that Plateau senatorial zone has suffered several attacks, what is the plight of Plateau women? Thank you.
All right, okay, you've had them all, and you have less than, I'll just give you 7 minutes.
Thank you.
So you go ahead.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all the questions asked. The first question, that's from Joseph Barry. I have schooled with people who have been disabled, especially the visually impaired. I know the challenges. As an assurance, on our campaign team, we have a lot of people with disabilities. So do not worry. When I know the challenges, the brailing machines, whatever and whatever. So don't worry. I said something that before a budget, there will be interaction. Nobody will be excluded. The people living with disabilities will all form part of it. We are not discriminating against anybody. We are inviting everybody. We will highlight our problems together and then take care of them. So I'm giving you assurance that you should be rest assured that that's not going to be a problem. Hajar, on women development. In our manifesto, unfortunately I didn't bring it here, I would have made it available for you. It is well captured. Women empowerment is captured. And by the grace of God, I will ensure that there is proper lobbying for women to be taken care of, even in government. In our manifesto, we have made provisions for what do you call it? You understand? Vocational trainings and the rest. All these are in places to ensure that women are carried along. We know the challenges that women have been facing over the years. The question of accessibility, while talking, I have already given an assurance. I don't think I should still repeat it because I will still repeat the same thing. I will still say the same thing. And that's from Sadiq Garba, right? You said my responsibilities. I am a lawyer. I don't know whether you know that I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing as a lawyer. I have a law firm. The law firm is called Knight's Firm. I have handled clients, so when I'm talking about responsibilities, it's handling clients' cases. I have applied due skills and diligence to ensure that we handle their matters very, very well. So that's what I am saying. I meant by saying I have handled people's responsibilities very, very well by the grace of God. You also raised the issues of giving ears to CSOs. I think one thing that I've been emphasizing on is what? Accessibility, carrying everybody on board to ensure that I have a successful legislation. But mind you, I keep repeating the fact that as a legislator, you also have your own limitations. So, but to the best of my ability, I will ensure that those issues are taken care of. Mr. Nelson, you raised a lot of issues about the children who are out of school and the rest. You see, there are laws on ground to take care of education. Our own is to ensure that we move motions, you understand, that will further enhance education. But harnessing those talents that you talked about, I think we can achieve that through sports. We can achieve that successfully through sports, because you raised the fact that a lot of them are intelligent, but they are nowhere. So then they've gone into criminalities and the rest. We can put them together, apart from the vocational trainings that we make available. Areas of sports can also be looked at to ensure that we know how much people in sports have been making. You raised the issue of relationship between the Christians and the Muslims. By the grace of God, I'll tell you that majority of my friends are Muslims. I visit them and they still visit me. And that's why I was talking about unity. But one thing is very, very important. I will still get to that because I'll answer it. Barrister Sam Gotom also raised that question about observing the rules of law. We must be able to punish offenders. We must be able to punish offenders. We are able to punish offenders. I'm telling you, as a matter of time, it's just a matter of time, we will all be there. We will get back to the old days when we all were living in peace and as one. Alaji Abdullahi, tricycle, you raised the issue of lack of development in certain areas. I think yesterday I was also in some communities, and they said there is no federal presence, there is no state presence. You see, it's good that you are raising this. Remember, during interactions, these issues should still be raised because we have our limitations. Constituency projects that will be made available to us will not be the same way the states have control over the resources. You understand? So within our own strength, we will ensure that certain presence reach those communities. But the assurance we give you further is that we will liaise with the executive. We will liaise with the executive. Somebody also raised the fact that we need to harness I need to harness the legislators even at the state level to achieve that. Yes, I will do that. But you also ensure that you also give me a governor. Because if you send me to the National Assembly and then you send somebody from a different party to the as the governor, you know definitely it's going to be very, very difficult for me. So you also give me my own governor in Labour Party, since I am contesting in Labour Party, right? Yes. Thank you. I think that's that on this. Mr. Sam Gotom, okay? They need to unify lawmakers. I just answered it now. I thank you for raising this, and I'm assuring you that I'm not going to take it lightly. I will take it with all seriousness to see that I unite us. And my own opinion on the rule of law is that we must observe the rule of law. It is the only thing that can make us successful as citizens. Wherever we find ourselves, if we are disciplined, we follow the rule of law, I tell you that automatically all other things will fall into places. So my opinion on the rule of law is that we must observe the rule of law, and offenders must face the wrath of the law. So that's my opinion on that. My brother Paul Zaruma on the implementation of laws. Yes, I agree with you. We have a lot of laws in places, but implementation is the problem. Now, in my manifesto, I said something. We are going to ensure that we liaise with people who are like-minded, so that traditional institutions will also be given autonomy. You see, if traditional institutions are given autonomy, they will now have the power to engage people in political offices to ensure that things are done rightly. One of the key problems we have is that traditional rulers today, some of us here are even better than them. They are toothless because they have no place in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And once they make efforts to fix things right, somebody from the local government will just write them a letter and say he is either suspending them, or he will query them, or in short, to the extent of even deposing them. So as one of the items that we have, and we intend to take it very, very serious, is to start making effort to amend the Constitution to carve out a place for our traditional institutions, so that traditional rulers will discharge their responsibilities very, very well. So I think, but since that is not in place, it is also our responsibilities. We will continue to liaise with people who are in political offices like me. As I say, I am a team player. I've always been a team player to ensure that we get all these things in place. That's to ensure that the laws are being enforced. On displaced IDPs, I think this is item number 2 on my own list. And as I said earlier, this constituency have suffered so much. We have so many IDPs. Effort to resettle them has commenced. And by the grace of God, I will continue with that effort. And it is not only in Plateau State. I have highlighted the fact that almost all the states in northern Nigeria are facing the same problem. Go to Zamfara, go to Katsina, go to Kaduna, go to Benue, go to you understand, so many places are facing these issues. So we must ensure that we move motions so that agencies that are responsible for making certain provisions will add up, like the namers, and the samers, you understand, to also play their own role very, very well, including the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and governors. They all need, for us to achieve this, all hands must be on deck. And that's why we also need leaders that can support us. And so we need people who also have the same thoughts to achieve this. So we're not going to joke over that. State police, I have said that over and over again. We need state police. It is lack of state police that today you are having so many non-conventional conventional security outfits, because the people are no more secured. They are afraid. The number of police we have are very, very few, and they are controlled by the federal government. And if I tell you that I do not believe in state police, then I'm lying to myself and lying to everybody. What is more critical to us now is the state police. And if we can even harness these non-conventional security outfits, the vigilante groups, the hunters, the whatever, they are all there. Put them together, start training them. But you know we cannot achieve that without the law. So there must be an act of the National Assembly to put that into perspective. By the grace of God, having raised this, we are going to take, even though I've been talking about it, but I've been looking at it only from the angle of restructuring the country completely so that certain powers can be devolved.
So 2 minutes more to go.
Thank you. Very soon I'll round up. Now, so I believe in state police, and we are going to take it with all seriousness. I'm going to work with people who are like-minded with me to achieve that. You raised the issue of campaigns, I think this same agency have come to me and I told them that, look, even though I know that something like that exists, we have not developed to this level for now. So I said, go and meet the party. We will discuss. The party will invite us for a meeting. To a large extent, it's not as if the agency is bad completely. It should be there for checks so that people cannot just be posting anything on air in form of or for the purpose of campaign. They should be able to regulate our activities as politicians during campaign. But the fee should be very, very minimal. So that's my position on that. The fee should be minimal, shouldn't be much. Mr. Akwai, thank you. I have said it in so many places. I have had cause to engage non-Plateau indigenes. If we want your involvement in politics, why should you not benefit? If we want your vote, why should you not benefit? So, I have already said it in forums that I will ensure that everybody is carried on board. So, it is an assurance that I am giving to all citizens based in Plateau North that everybody will be treated the same and with all fairness. Our mother, Ruth Agbo, on women empowerment and women who are facing challenges, we have highlighted that it is in our manifesto. Honestly, and by the grace of God, we will carry women along. We will also ensure, that's why I also keep emphasizing that, don't send me alone, no, because my own water may just be in a cup. So it will not be the same with the person who is controlling the dam. So if you send me alone, you only get what comes out from me. But if you send me with others, like I have a governor, I can always run to him and say, please, give us 5 slots for women. You understand? For me, it is, and I have already made it, that by the grace of God, as I emerge, definitely my team must have, bad case scenario, 2 women. Okay. So this is an assurance to you. I hope I've been able to satisfy us. The time is very, very limited. Thank you so much.
In fact, it's because my producer was magnanimous to add more minutes to us. If not, you have taken more than 15 minutes in responding. Thank you so very much to everybody for making out time to be in the studio this morning. I have a minute to take 1 or 2 messages. You don't need to respond to that. This one is saying, good morning, P and B. Please, I'm asking, why is it that anytime you invite any LP candidate, they honor it, but when you invite other candidates from different party, they snub it? Why? Does that mean they are not people and media friendly? We will meet them at the poll. Chris in Nasara is saying that, and this one is from Al Hassan. He's saying, truly our Lord knows the best of us. Barrister, if elected, I hope this will not be the first and the last to hear from you. May Allah guide us in the right path. Hassan Garba is saying that. And this one is saying, good morning, B and P, regards to the guests in the house. LP aspirant has spoken well. How can you sustain the relative peace we are enjoying here in our territorial zone? If elected, Jagaban and Nantawe are the answer. All right. Thank you so very much. Time will not permit us to take. We have lots of messages that time will not permit us. On behalf of everybody that made this program a huge success, our guest this morning has been the Labour Party candidate for the Plateau North senatorial seat. He's aspiring for you to trust him with your vote. You've heard from him. It's for you to now make informed decisions. Barrister, your final take as we go.
Well, my final take is I thank you. I love you as all citizens of Nigeria, and I am charging you to ensure that during the elections, come out en masse and vote for the Labour Party.
All right. On behalf of everybody, our engineers this morning, Engineer Rugo, Engineer Tijani Habibu, Shamsuddin behind the cameras, Ibrahim also behind the cameras, my boss himself, Ambassador Bello Lukman, the golden son of Jos, for giving me this opportunity to sit here. I'm really honored. And for you all that made out time to come out and ask these critical questions, I hope, just like the PPPN representative said, jot down and write the date so that when the time comes, you will remind our politicians should they get into office. And the crew that came with you, we appreciate you. They are behind there, but we cannot mention their names. My name is Pamdun Quiz. Hope to see you at the other side of sunrise tomorrow. Keep listening to the voice of reason. Next is going to be community broadcast in Ngas with Swa and his team. Ensure that you vote your conscience and not for the stipends. Bye-bye.
Unity. Unity.